Most people retire broke. Not because they earned too little, because they spent 40 years doing what everyone around them was doing, and nobody around them was thinking about this. Here's the strange part. The people who retired before 45, most of them didn't make six figures in their 20s. They didn't inherit money. They didn't get lucky on a single stock. What they did was different in ways so quiet, so unglamorous, that most people walk right past these habits without noticing them. One of those habits, number 4 on this list, genuinely rewired how I think about money. I'll get to it. But first, I need to tell you about Marcus. Marcus was a 28-year-old software engineer in Austin, Texas. Decent salary, not extraordinary. His friends were upgrading their apartments, leasing cars, taking weekend trips to Tulum. Marcus was doing something else. He was building what he called his gap, the distance between what he earned and what he spent. Not out of fear, not because he was cheap, because he understood something most people in their 20s don't. The size of your gap is the size of your future. That gap, invested consistently, left alone, is the engine behind everything on this list. But the habits themselves? That's where it gets interesting. Habit 1. They treated their future self like a real person. This sounds abstract until you see what it actually means in practice. Morgan Housel writes in The Psychology of Money that the biggest financial mistakes people make aren't mathematical, they're emotional. We make decisions for our present self, the person who's tired, who wants the thing now, who deserves a reward, while completely ignoring the person who will be 44 and wondering why there's nothing in the account. People who retire early develop what you can only call future self-loyalty. They literally ask, what does 44-year-old me need from the decision I'm making right now? It changes everything. The new car, the upgraded apartment, the designer clothes, none of it disappears from consideration. It just gets weighed against something real, not abstract. If you've ever blown a budget on something you barely remember 6 months later, drop a comment below. I want to know I'm not the only one who's done this. Habit 2. They automated the boring part first. The enemy of building wealth isn't overspending, it's friction. Every month, the average person gets paid, sees the number in their account, spends normally, and then, if anything is left, thinks about investing. The problem is there's rarely anything left. Life expands to fill whatever's available. Early retirees reverse this. Money gets moved before they see it. Into brokerage accounts, index funds, retirement vehicles, before the brain even registers the paycheck. It's not discipline. It's the absence of a decision. You cannot spend money that isn't sitting in your checking account. James Clear calls this reducing the friction to good behavior in Atomic Habits. The same principle applies to money. The fewer decisions you have to make, the more consistently you execute. One conversation with your bank takes 20 minutes. That 20 minutes might be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars over a decade. Habit 3. They were deeply, almost unnervingly disinterested in looking wealthy. Here's something nobody tells you about financial independence. The people who achieve it early almost never look like they have money. The neighbor who drives the 2014 Honda Accord and wears the same 3 shirts. The woman at your gym who brings lunch to work in a container. The guy from your college friend group who never seems to care about the restaurant you're going to. There's a term for this: stealth wealth. And it's not about deprivation. It's about understanding that the purchase price of looking successful is your actual freedom. Think about it in real numbers. A car lease that costs $600 a month is $7,200 a year. Over 10 years invested instead, that's not $72,000. It's closer to $120,000, depending on returns. The lease didn't cost you a car payment. It cost you a chunk of the year you could have stopped working. Early retirees made this math personal. The status they cared about wasn't what people saw when they looked at them. It was what the account said when they opened the app at 6 a.m. Habit 4. They built income they didn't have to show up for. This is the one that changed how I think about money. And it's the one most people skip because it sounds like advice for someone already rich. It isn't. The principle is simple. Every dollar of passive or semi-passive income you create is a dollar that no longer requires your time. It's money that works while you sleep, while you're sick, while you're at your kid's school play. And the people who retire before 45 typically start building this in their early 30s, sometimes earlier, not after they hit some imaginary wealth number. Rental income, dividend-paying index funds, a side business that runs on systems instead of hours. a digital product someone can buy at 3 a.m. without you lifting a finger. Here's what makes this psychologically powerful. When a portion of your bills are paid by income you didn't trade time for, your relationship with your job transforms. You stop needing it the same way. The negotiating power shifts, the anxiety shifts, you start making different decisions. The goal early on isn't to replace your salary, it's to replace your rent, then your groceries, then, slowly, everything else. Habit 5. They obsessively protected their most valuable asset, and it wasn't money, it was time. The average American watches roughly 3 hours of television per day. That's nearly 1,000 hours a year. I'm not saying television is evil. I'm saying that's 1,000 hours that, directed toward almost anything else, changes what's possible in 5 years. Early retirees tend to treat time the way most people treat money. They track where it goes, they cut the waste, they invest what's left into things that compound. They read voraciously, not because reading makes you feel productive, but because the right idea at the right moment is worth years of grinding trial and error. They spend time around people who are building things, not just talking about building things. The social environment matters more than most people want to admit. Surround yourself with people who are financially asleep, and the pull towards staying asleep is constant. This is the one nobody wants to hear, because it means looking at your daily life and asking honestly, where is my attention actually going? Habit 6. They never stopped learning what money actually does. Most people learn exactly enough about money to get by. They know about 401ks in the vague sense. They know the stock market exists. They know they should probably have more in savings. People who retire early treat financial literacy like a professional skill, not because they want to become fund managers, but because understanding how money moves gives you options that people who don't understand it simply don't see. They understand the difference between an asset and a liability in the way Robert Kiyosaki meant it. Things that put money in your pocket versus things that take it out. They understand tax-advantaged accounts and how compounding changes shape over time. They understand that a 1% fee on a mutual fund sounds small and costs, over 30 years, an amount that would make your eyes water. This isn't intimidating knowledge. It's learnable. The gap between someone who understands basic financial mechanics and someone who doesn't isn't intelligence. It's exposure. Here's the thing about all 6 of these habits. None of them require you to be extraordinary. They require you to be intentional in ways that most people, your coworkers, your friends, the people in your Instagram feed, simply aren't. The people who retired before 45 didn't find a shortcut. They found a longer game that most people aren't willing to play. They got bored of looking impressive. They got obsessed with the gap. They automated the boring work. They built income that didn't need them. They guarded their time like it was their last dollar. And they never stopped understanding the system they were working inside. Marcus, by the way, reached financial independence at 41. He still works. He just doesn't have to. And if you ask him what changed everything, he doesn't point to a stock pick or a windfall. He points to the day he sat down and drew a line between what he earned and what he spent, and decided to make that line as wide as possible for as long as it took. That gap is still growing. If this hit different than what you usually see, hit like, share with your loved ones, and subscribe. There's a lot more where this came from.